just tuned in, we're talking about conscious coaching. Is it consciousness or conscious? Same thing.
Consciousness,
conscious coaching.
Mindful.
Okay. So we have Louise Mowbray in the studio. Louise is sharing all this wonderful knowledge with us and hopefully motivating us to live consciously, to be in a curious context and see the world that way. Louise is an international coach and speaker. She's an ICF qualified coach and qualified consciousness coach, and also a personal brander. So if you have any questions for Louise, you can call us on 0861 24 24 36, or you can SMS us on 34519. So Louise, it's one, as you say, one little step at a time. So if people who are listening now, they now have a little bit of time, maybe they are taking a few days off, or they're lucky enough to be going on holiday, and automatically when you're on holiday, you do simply have more time to sit and think. And I think that that's what really it's about. It's having that moment and to be curious and think about those things. What are you passionate about? What are the triple Ds, etc., etc.? Is there anything else that you think people should be doing now that they have a bit of time, they've got a little bit of space, they can think about other things?
What I'd love to do is give people just a couple of salient points to almost hold as a research question in their minds. Research questions are lovely. I call it chewing gum for the mind. They don't need an answer.
Okay.
So no pressure, and it should be fun. Okay. And the question, first and most important foundation around all of this is integrity. It's a word we use a lot. In any corporate mission statement or values or statement or what have you, they're going to use the word integrity. But what does integrity really mean to you? And in consciousness coaching, we have a very, very simple definition. Integrity is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
Say that again. Integrity
is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
Okay.
So if you think about it in these terms, if you're running around all day saying, yes, I'll call you later, and sure, I'll pick that up, and I'll do, don't worry, I'll take that on board, and I'll send you some information, or we're constantly doing that because we want to be helpful. And of course, there's never enough time in the day, so we're loading our plates with stuff that we actually never get to deliver.
Right.
So then what happens is that we're out of integrity with ourselves to begin with. So something to think about for the new year is, what are you piling on your plate and promising to others that you're not delivering? Because then you really are letting yourself down. So let's get that lined up first and foremost. Only promise what it is that you can deliver, and it always needs a time scale in the time frame that you have promised it.
Okay.
So
And be realistic.
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of disappointing others, which this leads a little bit into personal brand and leadership brand, which is all about how others perceive us. So instead of being perceived as somebody who's unreliable and untrustworthy and doesn't actually deliver on their promises, suddenly we get a whole shift in other people's perception of you, because you're being in integrity, which drives your doing, which they then get to experience.
Okay.
So you're changing your environment, and it's a bit like a Trojan horse. You're changing the internal. Yeah. So don't worry too much about the external yet. Yeah. First and foremost is take a good look at that integrity and what can you be doing on a day-to-day basis, and make sure that whatever you take on board, you deliver when you say you're going to deliver it. And things will start to alter just from that basis. And you can do it in very small ways. It needn't be some big project.
Okay.
It just becomes part of your
I think that's
day-to-day
great.
being.
I think it's a fantastic thing to do and think about.
Absolutely. So that's a great place to start, because until you're in integrity, that I spoke about those wonderful days that everything starts
flows.
to work. Yeah. When you're in integrity, that happens more and more often. The second thing is to really get curious, because if you come at things, and I know we've covered this point, but I want to sort of almost layer it for the listeners, is if you get curious as your context, it means that you're constantly inquiring without judging.
Okay.
So, in judgment, what happens is we make ourselves right, and therefore we make the other wrong. Yeah. So the opportunity for real engagement between people disappears. Because if somebody else is always wrong and you're always right, how can that ever go anywhere? But if you come at it from a place of curiosity, so why do you think that way? So what led you to get to that point of view, and how are you going to go about fixing it?
Okay, so you're removing your emotion or your ego or
yes, very much
the need
so.
to be right or whatever, and you're being curious. It's almost as if you remove yourself and you're a curious observer.
Absolutely.
It's a lovely way of putting it.
It's an amazing way to
Curiosity,
live.
yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, it'd be great to be...
and that's down to the guy who's filling up your petrol tank, or your next door neighbour, or the person that you meet standing in the queue, in the supermarket. Wow, that looks amazing. What is that? So it's fostering a way of doing and thinking. And I can really give you an example right now. If you think of something that's bugging you right now, that's really causing annoyance, and somebody's not doing what they should be doing in the way that they should be doing it,
When you want them to be doing it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if every one of us thinks of a situation like that right now, and then just lift yourself onto a different plane of curious, well, I wonder why they're not doing it. I wonder why they're resisting. I wonder why it's
changes
not happening.
it, right.
Instantly our energy changes. Can you feel it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what happens is that we can then start to have perspective. Because when you're locked into some little thing happening or being or doing the way that we want it to, we have no perspective. And we can't see any other ways forward or other answers.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So
are we going to do, so those are two things to think about.
Two things to think
Integrity,
about whilst lying on the beach.
Curiosity.
Yes.
I think those,
And
if you're able to, I think there'll be a great shift.
Absolutely.
It's the beginning, it's the first step.
It is
Just
the
contemplating is really the first step, because it's taking yourself into a whole new space.
Absolutely. And of course, one needs to do the doing this. Yeah, one can't just contemplate.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We're on holiday. By the way, Carol SMS'd and she said, your discussion is of such crucial importance to all of us. Thanks for a great show. Louise, I think you've shared some very, very important knowledge, some great insights with us this morning. And I, for one, am going to be taking those insights on holiday with me, and I hope that our Chaifm listeners, and hope that shifts will be taking place for the new year. So thank you very, very much for joining us.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Niki. Thanks for having me.
So that, of course, is Louise Mowbray. And Louise, if people are interested and they want to go onto your website, can you give us your website address, please?
Yes, sure. It's www.mowbray, MOWBRAY,
Mowbray by Design. Okay. .com, so people can get hold of you there if they want to. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Louise.
Thank you.
Wonderful having you here. 101.9 Chaifm, Louise Mowbray, international coach, speaker, ICF qualified coach, qualified consciousness coach, personal brand. I'm going to take all that information with me on holiday. Hopefully you found it as interesting and beneficial as I did. 24 minutes past 10 o'clock.